Hey everyone, and welcome back. So we're looking at our next stage in the Odyssey, and a little bit of background that you need before this. So the Odyssey is Odysseus's, that's why it's the Odyssey, journey home. And it is really all about how he, after as the hero of the Trojan War, it takes him 10 years to get home. So there's a lot of timeline you need to know there. For example, this is the Trojan horse. We know this one. This is one of the most famous things in Odysseus' story, that after nearly 10 years at war with Troy, Odysseus comes up with the plan for the Trojan horse. As you can see, it's huge, and there are several Greek soldiers hiding inside of it. And at night, when they all go to sleep, when the Trojans go to sleep, the Greeks come out, they open up the gates, they slaughter the Trojans, they raze the city to the ground, and they are victorious. And it was Odysseus' idea. So that is all the background that you need. And then Odysseus, on his way home, these adventures befall him, and he spends 10 years trying to get home. And you say, well, why is that? So what you should do at this point is open up in your textbook to where we are. So you should go to the section of the Odyssey. You're going to see what is a hero, and really part one. So if you're in the Holt McDougall textbook, and I'll have instructions of this on the classroom, you're going to want to go to that. And the other part of this to know is that the day Odysseus left, he had his son, Telemachus, was born. And so Odysseus has gone 10 years for the war and another 10 years trying to get home. So now his son Telemachus is 20 years old. And wow, isn't that a long time for him to be gone as he is trying to come home. What I want you to notice here is some way that the textbook writes all of this. So you're going to notice that you have standard font here, which is about a Times New Roman font, and that is the translation coming from the actual text itself. Please always notice the side notes. Is when you get down here, when you see this in italics, this is the editor summarizing for you what you're missing. Because here you have book one. Now, book one, if we were doing this from the actual translation, like the Fagles translation, would be about 20 to 25 pages long. They've summed it up for you in one page, where they just start talking about Odysseus, what a great warrior he was, how terrible for him. And if you read this section down here, it talks about how Athena is appealing to Zeus to help Odysseus, who has been wandering for 10 years, and he needs to find his way home to his family on Ithaca. Part of the characteristics of the epic. We talked about the great homecoming. And that while he's been gone, his son Telemachus has grown into manhood, and Odysseus' wife Penelope has been besieged by suitors who want to marry her so that they can gain Odysseus' wealth. The suitors have taken up residence in her home and are constantly eating their stuff, which by the laws of custom they're allowed to do. And they dishonor Odysseus and his family. Taking Athena's advice, Telemachus travels out on his own journey to find out where his father is. And on Ithaca, the suitors are plotting to kill Telemachus. This all becomes important in the second half, so we're not going to deal with it now. But once you have this in this description right here, that's the end of book one. And it skips right to book 5. Books 2, 3, and 4 are then Telemachus' story of how he goes out on his own journey to try to find out where his father is. Now the same thing here. Book 5 should be about 20 to 25 pages long. It's going to be about 3. And that's what you're going to have to read. So notice in the italics, people say, how is he out there 10 years? For 7 of the 10 years, Odysseus has spent wandering the Mediterranean Sea. He has been held captive by the goddess Calypso on her island. As book 5 begins, Zeus sends the god Hermes to tell Calypso to release Odysseus. However, she is only to help him build a raft. He must sail for 20 days before landing on the island of Scheria, where he will be helped in his effort to return home. This speaks to a very typical epic kind of idea, because remember, the epic hero has to embody the ideals of the age. Although the gods interfere, they can't do it for him. If Odysseus is going to attain glory, he has to do it himself. All that happens here is that Hermes, who's the messenger of the god, tells Calypso, you have to let him go. That's all. She has been keeping him as a prisoner there for 7 years. And so it's finally time for him to go home. What's interesting about the book is also this. In Greek mythology, they would do this a lot. The book actually begins almost at the end. That if this is a 10-year story, this is like 9 years and 6 months in. And so now Odysseus is going to be on his way home, and the next book we're going to look at is going to be him telling the story of how he got from the end of the Trojan War to where he is now. So what I want you to do is you're going to read these couple of pages. It's going to be a little challenging. Take your time with it if you need to. There are always online guides to help you. Okay, definitely make sure you're reading the side notes the whole time. And then I'm going to have some questions that I want you to answer in the classroom. Okay? Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe.